Welcome everybody and welcome to this LinkedIn live presentation. My name is Andy Graham and I'm the Chief Commercial Officer here at Coco Systems, and I'm with my colleague.
Hi everybody, I'm Heli Kivisoja. I'm the Head of Customer Onboarding. We are here to talk about the digitalization in aviation industry and what does the journey look like and what does it require from you to go on the transformation journey. This is going to be an interactive discussion, so feel free to give your feedback and write your comments and questions below in the chat, and we'll come back to you later on in due course. So Andy, what about your thoughts then on digitalization? Digitalization is here to stay and it also affects the aviation industry.
Well, it's a great question, Heli, and my thoughts on the digitalization are that it's definitely here to stay. It's obviously here to stay because it's adding value and it's hitting the bottom line in terms of efficiencies and cost control, and also hitting the bottom line in terms of adding to the operational environment with digital applications such as the tools that Coco produce, and many other applications such as M&E platforms and other off-the-shelf applications are very well thought of these days, are a lot more mature and are a lot more easy to implement these days than they were probably in the mid-90s when there was a lot more complex environment. We have a lot of applications that can be off the shelf that are adding individual value as opposed to historically where it was adding a lot of enterprise value for the whole operation. So for instance, in the maintenance and engineering facilities, you have applications such as what Coco produce for the marketplace, MRO tools, Avria decks, and our assignment application. But you also, they are complementing enterprise applications such as M&E systems, AMOS, Maintenix, Envision, etc. So when you accomplish all of those applications together in your operational environment, you really are selecting digital products that are going to add value within their individual niche. So no longer does one size fit all. I think now the digital environment consists of multiple off-the-shelf applications that can prove they're offering competitive advantage to that customer and his environment.
Yeah, I agree, and just thinking from the customer's perspective as well, because this is going to be a big journey for them, and it's maybe sometimes a little bit cumbersome to think about kind of where to start and how to go about it. And I was thinking that the aviation industry is not in isolation from the rest of the world, and there are lots of big trends that are impacting also the aviation industry, like aging of the population and kind of difficulties in acquiring skilled task forces and employees. We've seen after COVID as well that there's been lack of employees across the industry really. Mm-hmm. So this could be something that digitalization can help with by bringing some solutions to the industry, and we can provide great solutions and help smoothen the journey as well.
Absolutely. One of the key constraints that is out there at the moment that Heli has correctly identified is lack of manpower, and how do we get that trained manpower working on the asset more often in order to get the jobs done, and where can we digitalize certain areas of the operation that don't require that expensive manpower to be doing that, such as in tool control. No longer requirement to have engineers inside the tool cribs. If you have a digital product managing that, then you're able to release that engineer and get them back on the line. They are an expensive man-hour cost to the operation, and they're highly trained. So you really want them operating in that asset zone in order to produce value for our customers who we're working with. So manpower constraints, increased demand from passengers and cargo markets, lack of aircraft availability are all causing individual stresses within the airline operation. And again, we'll be having digital products. They can help to an extent. Of course, they can't produce an aircraft to come here quicker, but we can produce that aircraft to get entry into service much faster if you're leveraging efficient digital products and moving away from such legacy applications like Excel and other legacy applications that are out there that are slowing down the process and no longer making it efficient.
Yeah, and then thinking about kind of where to start from and what the customer should be focusing on. I've been thinking that it might make sense to also kind of ask the question that what do you want to get out of the digitalization really? So basically, is it that you want to improve data quality? Or is it that you want ability to make better data-driven decisions? Or is it risk management or you're focusing on? Everybody wants to always focus on cost savings. Mm-hmm. That's clear. So that's something that we can also provide with digitalization. And maybe even the customer experience or employee experience is improved.
I think fundamentally, from talking to our global customers, which operate within the Asia-Pacific market, Middle East, Europe and North America markets, number one concern is naturally safety. Are we compliant? Are we able to prove that we're compliant? And are we continuously monitoring our safety and operational effectiveness and readiness? And I think those are the very first initial discussions. Do these digital applications help address their safety environment, and can they control that operational environment to make it more efficient without the loss of any safety process, protocols or procedure?
Yeah, sure. That's a really good point, and I think we both have seen these benefits materializing within our customer base as well. So whether it is about safety or also kind of making faster processes, for example, dispatching the aircraft quicker from the maintenance, or then having the ability for the aircraft to fly longer before the maintenance. Mm-hmm. So there are all sorts of different types of approaches that you can actually gain the benefits from digitalization. But you just have to start the journey first, and then see what is the process that makes sense to start from.
Yeah, a lot of our customers have started the digital journey, such as with modern maintenance and engineering applications, from the likes of IFS and Maintenix, Swiss AS with their AMOS applications, Ultramain with their applications, and a lot of those applications have many modules that are addressing a lot of those key areas. But I think when we go to talk to our customers, those applications don't address everything. They're not a one-fits-all type of application. And they're looking for partners in that ecosystem in order to address individual areas such as planning, such as how do we harvest and manage and clean and distribute those data sets across their internal ecosystem. But also they have quite diverse external ecosystems with multiple lessors, multiple regulators, possibly if they're operating a large international network, and they have multiple MRO facilities servicing those aircraft. So how do we get the data in? How do we get the data out? And how do we share that data? And of course, the customer is very, and quite rightly so, very sensitive on the data sharing aspect of that, because it's quite commercially sensitive and operationally critical that they hold and control their own data that they produce. So that's a lot of the areas that COCO addresses with our Aviadex application, and then especially around being able to fit into a complex operational environment. We need to talk to those applications as well. So part of our methodology when we deploy is obviously we want our application offering additional value by having such things as a bidirectional API, making sure that those APIs are up and running, are inserted into the correct areas of the other applications, and they can offer that value to the customer, that they don't need to continuously do a data punch, they don't need to continuously review, manage it and process that. And a lot of what COCO does for the customer is we do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to the projects and project management, and we do a lot of the induction process. We recognize quite openly that most of our customers are constrained on manpower, as we spoke just previously, and that's no different for their IT manpower as well. So it's up to us to help that customer through that journey. And one thing that springs to mind, Heli, in your role as head of deployment of our products, is probably it might be good to share some customer where we've added great value, where it's been a bit more of a complex operational environment, and what that looked like from your experience.
Yeah, we have several customers, for example, some in America, where we have helped them digitalize their tooling management processes, and we've brought great value to them. They've been able to kind of move away from manual processes to digitalized tool control. It has helped the operations on the floor, in the hangars as well, but also the IT. And it was quite a surprise to the IT department to find out that this is actually a software as a service implementation, because it means that they don't need to install anything into their IT infrastructure. You also avoid big upgrade projects, which can take from a couple of months to half a year and so on, which are quite heavy, laborsome and also costly. So as a SaaS provider, so software as a service, it means that we are hosting the system and we are taking care of that you have the latest version of the software always. So that has been a surprise to them as well, that this is kind of quite easy and straightforward to implement. And like you said, we do the heavy lifting, so we are in charge of the actual implementation and we do most of the testing. Of course, the customer will do some of the testing as well to make sure that the data is intact and it kind of fits their processes. But what is key from a customer's perspective is to acknowledge that there's sufficient management support, that they understand what they want from this project, and also that they nominate the key resources. Usually what we need is key stakeholders from the operations, so people who understand the subject matter and the data, but also from IT, so that they can be happy with the solution and that we are compliant with the security policies and integration policies, so that we follow the guidelines of the customer as well. And you need to also remember to take into account certain level of change resistance. It's only human, it's natural. We all kind of think like, okay, this is something new, it's something big, it's going to change our world, it's going to digitalize the processes that we are already happy with. But then you have to be able to communicate why you are doing this, what are the benefits you're going to gain. Is it that the processes will become faster, work is going to be easier, the people can concentrate on more on the tasks that require more expertise, and so forth. So, or is it cost savings? Is it a combination of these? And usually it is a combination. You gain several different types of benefits that you don't necessarily always think about in advance. But we are there to help you express these and also increase the understanding what it means to go on this digitalization journey.
Mm-hmm. I think if I can just add into that as well, Heli, a lot of the user adoption as we address it is based on, is the tool going to be effective? Is the tool going to help the engineer with their daily work tasks? And is it easy to use? And I think some of the key features of our applications is the intuitive user interface that really allowed the customer to, almost like when you buy your brand new phone, you open it up, you put in some credentials, and you're almost ready to go. That's exactly the type of methodology we've adopted with a UI to make sure that that customer, regardless of the demographic of them or cultural background, they can easily identify that this is an easy to use application and it brings value to their daily tasks within the what they're doing, executing, whether on an aircraft or an engine or anywhere else in that operational environment, such as line maintenance.
That's an important topic that you brought up there, and I think it's always kind of a balance of how you implement these, because our solutions also can be implemented incrementally. So we offer modules, so you can kind of take certain parts of the processes, implement those first, and then add on as you become more familiar with the products. And we can also kind of, with the data flows, we can semi-automate certain parts of it, and then when the confidence increases, we can fully automate data flows as well. So depending what the task is at hand, there are different levels of kind of balancing between the current workflows that you have and then the digitalization process.
Yeah, exactly. And some of our customers have chosen to implement our standalone application for some of our applications, meaning they don't want it to connect to their maintenance and engineering environment, which is obviously their decision. But it offers them a lot more user adoption and getting that data faster and quicker, and getting the readiness inside their operational environment a lot quicker as well. But most of our customers, I would say 95% of them, want us connecting to their operational environment to give them that ecosystem value add within that environment. And again, leveraging all of those digital applications to work harmoniously as one to make sure the customer has oversight, safety, compliance, and can start predicting what their future looks like.
You touched upon this topic earlier, Andy, the collaboration between the different industry players. So what do you think about how we can help with digitalization between the different, like whether it's the operators or the manufacturers or the maintenance shops?
Yeah, great question, Heli. And a lot of the operational environment applications are open looped, so meaning that they have APIs that we can connect with. Not all, some are still quite legacy in thinking, but that's changing as well. So a lot of the digital providers that are out there recognize that we're all here to try and add value to that customer. And if my application is sending good data to their application, then that's making it more of a compelling operational application in the environment, giving the customer that level of data, the granularization of that data that they can start reporting on, they can start monitoring, and they can start building on that and start building out predictability in their environment. So I think having all of the applications in some capacity communicating with each other, that's probably one of the biggest changes over the last, I would say, 5, maybe 10 years. I would say historically before that, it was closed. You can't come into my application, we don't know you, you're not pre-approved. It was a very kind of legacy mindset. And that has definitely changed over the, as I said, the last 5 or 10 years, which is a welcome change because it now gives that customer very, very good data and very good application.
Yeah, and we have been talking to different industry players ourselves as well, and we have noticed that there are those common processes where they would benefit from both ends, kind of from the digitalization, that they can avoid entering the same data at both ends, and we can digitalize the data flows. So everybody's benefiting, and it also adds value to both the customer, but also the MRO or the OEM here, so that everybody's at heart, I think, the question of kind of how we get the aircraft quickly flying and so that it's airworthy, and every regulation is taken into account as well. So what do you think about the level of regulation in the industry as well? That can we help with that with digitalization?
Yeah, it's a hot topic, especially what's been happening recently within our industry. For sure, applications such as what Coco produce data, they manage data, they give you the data insights. Of course, what you get with that data, often, we say there's no real value in having a huge data lake when you don't have a rod to go fishing into. So we are effectively putting the pipes into that data lake and extracting that data and giving the human that data sets that they can make those business critical decisions, again, which have oversight from the regulatory authority. You can prove compliance, you can prove you have a process, a procedure that is sustainable and can scale with your operation, and you're really driving all of that for safety. So using the applications really do enhance your operational safety considerations, not just what Coco provide. Naturally, there's other applications that have a much more defined mission critical, such as the M&E applications. But there's other applications such as digital record applications from other areas such as fly docks, where they're holding and maintaining the digital documents, which are the final piece of compliance, being able to prove that the part is serviceable, being able to prove that the components are within manufacturers' guidelines, and having those environments and connectors from that, and Coco sending the data from what we get from off the aircraft, off the engine, off any LRU, from the tooling environment, how many tools are used, who has them, who's executed them, who's using them, when, where, why, and when, having that traceability, accountability, being able to identify what's in your inventory at the closing off of an aircraft before she goes back into service, and being able to really say, I know what's going on in my environment, I am compliant, and I'm comfortable that I have visibility on everything that's happening, whether it's in Helsinki, London, Los Angeles. You're able to, in one application, see what's going on and demonstrate that to your regulatory authority, which I think is very, very compelling. So I think that's where we're adding value across that landscape.
Mm. Yes, thank you, Andy. Before closing the whole session, what would be your kind of wise words of wisdom or advice to the aviation industry leaders?
I would say don't be fearful of digitalization. I would say it's a journey. You've already adopted that journey, but let's look at applications that can address your manpower shortage, for instance, enhance your safety, and give you a better operational visibility and cost control within your environment. There are many off-the-shelf applications performing in different areas. They're a lot more mature than they ever were and a lot more robust than they've ever been. People like companies like us, the Coco Systems, have been doing this now for 16 years. We're trusted by over 40 different airlines, MROs, OEMs, some of the world's leading companies. We're very privileged to say that are working with us. So take that trust, take that leap of faith in the sense of this is going to add value. Of course, it's one thing being able to see that from a sales presentation and a sales deck, but actually operationally starting to extract that value and starting to monitor that trend. I think, when we're talking to companies from all over the world in every region, Asia, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and North America and South America, one thing that they're always looking for is, I want more digitalization, I want more focus on being able to use applications. But it's very hard to get that through an approval process. It's very hard at times to get that through the legal process, the procurement process. There seems to be a lot of blockers in that stage. So it's about educating your internal customers as key stakeholders as well, that this is your plan and this is how it's going to add value to your operational environment. And then engaging with off-the-shelf applications like Coco Systems to allow those type of companies to really come in, show where they can add that value and bring you on that journey. So I would say don't be fearful of digitalization. It's here to stay, and it's probably not going to change. It's only going to get more and more enhanced with the use of tools such as AI, which we are introducing here in Coco as well, is how can AI help our customers. We have created a department inside our company that is purely focused on AI, and we want them to see, is this useful, can it add a benefit, and where does it add value for our customers, and able to do a lot of the predictability and to automate a lot of the work.
Yeah, and I could add to that just think about first that where do you want to start, identify the process and which has clear benefits to digitalize, then involve the correct people and communicate the benefits, and then basically start the journey. You don't need to, like the old saying goes, don't eat the elephant at once, slice it in pieces and start from somewhere and you'll actually get there. And we are there to help you, so you are not there on your own.
Yeah, so we would love to have your questions and we will answer them as eloquently as possible. If we don't know the answer, we'll get back to you with a more robust answer. But please, we look forward to your questions, and on behalf of myself, for taking the time today, we greatly appreciate it. We know time is probably the most valuable currency that we all have these days. So I appreciate you giving some of your time today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.